Hello, everyone. I'm Gavin. I'm a Master of Business Analytics student here at Sloan, and I'm on the organising committee for the sports conference in the sponsorship team. So at the conference, we've always tried to kind of promote different and alternative trends within the sports industry, and one of those has been esports. So today we're going to be talking about something to do with Excel esports. And we're really lucky to have Andrew, Dim, Max, and Laurence from the Financial Modelling World Cup here, and so I'll pass it off to Andrew. Thank you.
So, good morning everyone. Just a quick addition to the great introduction by Gavin. These are not just Diarmuid and Laurence. Diarmuid is the world champion of 2021, and Laurence is world champion of 2022. So not just the regular Excel guys, but really the best in the world. And within a couple of minutes, maybe after I complete a short introduction, they will show you a demo case on how Excel esports are being played. Starting with my today's presentation, just a few questions that were coming to my mind over the last years. What if Excel was a game? What if Excel was an esport? What if the best minds in the world could get together and determine in a competitive battle who's the brightest, who's the smartest, who's the fastest Excel user in the world? What if it was played in an Excel esports arena? What if there were crowds cheering for these guys and their competitors, and there was a significant prize money at stake? So all these questions were coming to my mind. We were discussing them inside our team, and that's how the Financial Modeling World Cup was born. So, as you see, my name is Andrew Grigolyunovich. I'm the founder and the CEO of the Financial Modeling World Cup. A short history of how this tournament started and evolved. Like my career in Excel is more than 20 years long for now, and in the early days, Excel was the first app I was opening every morning, and the last app I was closing in the evening. So, quite fast I became quite a power user, and took part in another competition that took place from 2012 to 2019 that was called Model-Off. That was a very, very good competition for the players. It was supported by big names like Microsoft, Standard & Poor's, PwC. It was a world championship in financial modeling, and it was an annual competition, and every year, like a couple of thousands of players from all over the world were competing for the 16 places in the finals. And I was lucky enough to qualify twice, in 2016 and 2017 to the finals. And the inspiration and the idea there was like, in 2016, I was coming to London finals, expecting like, wow, that's gonna be like something unique. There will be probably like a press conference and crowds cheering and an awards ceremony. But honestly, what we ended up with, it was like Saturday morning. We all came to the London offices of Microsoft, spent there some five hours in a conference room solving all these hard cases. And basically that was it. Like not really too much of crowd, not really too much of media coverage. And eventually the tournament was discontinued. The last one was in 2019. And that was exactly the time when I saw that, like, if I'm asking myself these questions, then this is a tournament that we could bring to the next level. And in 2020, the Financial Modeling World Cup, the FMWC, was launched. We started that like more or less in the same format, great competition for the players, but from the very beginning we were experimenting with formats, trying to put some spectator-friendly aspect to that sport. And we fine-tuned the format several times until in 2021, the first Excel esports tournament started. So instead of speaking, let me just show you some highlights from one of the games.
How about Flash Field?
Right? Oh my God, what are you doing? This is Oz the Slay, who hates all artificial intelligence.
These are some screenshots like from the Excel All-Star Battle.
Right?
This was on ESPN2 last August,
know whether or not it worked.
within the Ocho
We're
Day.
2 minutes in, and Diarmuid hasn't scored a point.
Oh, Lord. Did
And
he
again,
fall asleep?
as you look
look at this,
how
he's
the
using a
top
name
players
range.
work,
Range.
you see and you can learn from
Structure
that.
is basically
So
gonna be the
many people
foundation
don't know,
for
don't
all
use
the
name
answers he's
ranges,
making.
but
He's not just
they
trying to
see how
solve
the
this
players
for
work
just infantry,
and they
which
can
is
get there,
what
and they
level
can
3
learn
is going to
that.
be. He's trying to solve this for everything, and this should theoretically sort of launch him to 1,000 points and get him all the answers right to the end of level 6 if he gets this right.
And we have a champion.
So this is the final, these are the final seconds from the first
15
World Championship
seconds.
we organized in
Yeah.
2021. And you will
anyone get a
see that
score?
with the passage of time, the quality of the
Trying to
production
figure
progress.
out probably
Have a
which
look
one of
here,
those
it's a
might have
tie,
an
6
early-
seconds before the end,
early
5
winner
seconds.
because,
And
again, we're trying to
yeah,
find
2 seconds
the
before the end,
pro.
Oh, Morgan's got it.
yeah,
Morgan Carr.
he wins it.
Morgan Carr.
I don't know, was
is
it
the
a
Excel
guess, a
czar.
lucky guess, or a
Morgan
manual
Carr, a
combination, but he
superstar.
got these extra points and he won. He won the student competition. That was a
He
student
comes to cell
tournament.
number 30 in the movement number 8.
This was really a
Next
Cinderella
time he goes
story.
back 3 cells
Anup
and probably
Agarwal
goes
from India
forward
was the
2
second
cells
seed in
or
this
something
tournament.
like that.
He was leading
What's gonna
Gabriella
happen
from
next?
Poland
If she
by
has
a
received
wide
one
margin,
answer correctly,
but she
if
managed
she's
to
able
get
to
back
all
in
the
the game,
numbers done,
solve all the
and
questions
first one is
correctly,
correct,
and
actually,
have a
she's
look
copying the
what
formulas.
happened
If she's
next.
able to do that the right way, she's going to be getting 1,000 points straight away, and there's going to be a clear win there. That's quite a lot. Oh my God, come look at the score.
Yeah, and
So Gabriella's
as you
taking the
see,
lead
she
in this
took the
match.
lead
She's
and she
clearly
beat
fixed
a
up one of her formulas.
straightforward,
We can
straight
see
favorite,
that,
a
she's
clear favorite of the
managed
game,
to,
who was Anup.
solve quite a lot of problems now. So now
and made it all the way through the
pressure
finals
is on Anup in the last
and
minute.
been
to
defeated
see if
by-
he can catch up those last
by Mr.
few
Early.
questions he needs to get back ahead and retake the lead.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Wow, wow, wow. That was an amazing, amazing match. Oh my gosh.
It looks as though Joseph's actually pulled ahead over Diarmuid.
This is
550.
one of the
Finished off top four.
tournaments we had in 2021.
Yeah,
So as you
and
see,
Michael Jarman
that's the
as well.
quarterfinals of the World Championship 2021. When, as you see on the top, the scoreboard says that it's 4 pairs of players competing, and they're solving a case on roulette, on casino forecasting,
But still working.
trying to get the points there. And this is
Flour
what
everywhere, butter on
happened
the
next.
floor,
So
the
it's
pie is
Diarmuid
He does have a little table.
playing
Table
versus.
ones and
Yeah,
ones.
and that's the final game of the 2021, where Dim scored. This case was meant for 40 minutes, and he made a maximum number of points within like 23 minutes and something. And that was one of the first maximums. Like imagine bowling, you can score 300 points. That's considered to be a very, impressive result. So this was an analog. Dim scoring 1,000 points, possible maximum in this game. So wait a second, and it's going to be there.
Score's gone up, 293 is correct. And in about 30 seconds, he's going to finish the case in 20 minutes.
In less than 20 minutes, actually.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and that's the maximum. That's the. Was it the first maximum, Dim,
Wow, look at that.
Well, that's it.
That's
Look
incredible.
at that.
or the second one? That was the second one in the history of Excel Esport games.
Dim is the Michael Jordan of
So,
Excel. This is
The
incredible.
commentators, listen to that. Dim is the Michael Jordan of Excel, and he really is.
Find that cell. There it is.
And I would say that Laurence probably is LeBron James of Excel.
We have our first lock.
So, okay,
There's won't be
these
enough time.
are.
Will not be enough time, Andrew.
Yeah, that's the final moments of the All-Star battle. Again, this was last year on ESPN2,
Time is up.
and the Michael Jordan was beaten by Andrew Guy from Australia. Yeah, and that's a short wrap up of some history. Just to give an overview what we do. So we do organize three tournaments. The one is the Financial Modeling World Cup. That's the player-oriented tournament for finance professionals, where people solve financial cases. Then we have the Excel Esports, including Microsoft Excel World Championship. So that's more Excel-based. Like you do not have to have financial knowledge to compete successfully there. Just need to know Excel and have some very good logical thinking. And finally, there is also the Microsoft Excel Collegiate Challenge that we organize for students, and that's a great competition for people to learn. Couple of ideas for understanding like why Excel Esports is a nice thing. It helps to elevate careers for people. Like all of the players who get it faster, they actually got better job offers, better contracts if they do consulting. This Anup Agarwal from India, when he started like 10 years ago, he was charging Indian rates. Now he's still living in India, but charging American rates for the clients from all over the world, and I believe he's doing quite well. So yeah, and we actually trying to position that as a monthly TV show. So every month there is an Excel Esports battle. Once in a while it's being streamed on ESPN3, and the best thing for that is that it's a great opportunity to train and learn. A couple of months ago, I bumped into a video of a gamer who was complaining that the game he was playing for the last 5 years and made it to the top of the rankings, it was discontinued by the production company, and there were no more tournaments anymore. So like 5 years of his life were just, could be written off. Here with Excel Esports, like you could be, spending 5 years of your life improving your skills, not making it to the top, but then you're going to get a very, very in-demand skill at any employer, at any company that does analytics or financial consulting. So that's the skill that stays with you. So just a brief overview of the size. So it's been developing for the last 2 years. It's currently covering players from 113 countries. And the plus there stands for the fact that basically it's been created like a week ago. Definitely for that week, we probably have somebody signing up from one of the remaining 87 countries. And we're covering approximately, actually more than 1,000 organizations. So players are coming from different companies and different universities. Here you have only a few of the examples. By the way, both these gentlemen, they have co-founded a company that's called the Golden Company. So that's a nice company to have. Like you have consultants that are ranked number 1 and number 2 in the world. And whoever they hire, it's gonna decrease the average level of their company in the future. So also quite number of universities competing in the student championship. These tournaments actually were already covered by ESPN. So the All-Star game was on ESPN2 within the Ocho Day last August. Since 2021, ESPN3 is showing our tournaments, our stages, the World Championships for professionals. And last December, the Excel Collegiate Challenge was on ESPNU. So I really hope that one day that's going to be the primetime show every week that people all over the world will be waiting for. So we're on the way to that. Just some statistics on media coverage, like quite well covered in media. Like I'll show you just these are the news articles, mentions of the different Excel Esports tournaments from all over the world. It's really been covered quite well, and that resulted in quite a number of views on YouTube, quite a number of views on the TVs. What we're up to next. So this year, previously it used to be more or less an online thing due to COVID and travel restrictions, but this year we have signed the agreement with the HyperX Esports Arena in Las Vegas. So the finals, December 9, mark the date. So that's going to be the first Microsoft Excel World Championship in-person finals in Las Vegas. And it's going to be also preceded by the Active Cell, a training camp/conference. The idea is that basically we have all the best players in the world gathering in Las Vegas. So why can't we ask them to help the aspiring future Excel gurus to get trained by them? We also expand locally. There will be quite a number of local chapters introduced quite soon. And we also do tournaments for companies. So companies could, especially companies that have quite a number of analysts who are using Excel, they could use these Excel Esports tournaments as training materials or just as an entertainment. So we had requests like, come on, make us some funny corporate events for relaxation where people could just compete against each other. This is how the Vegas finals will look like. Yeah, so that's a gorgeous arena. 2,000 people could get in there. Well, that's going to be a standing, setup. In the seating setup, it's less, but still, that's going to be a huge, huge event in December. And there are different ways to qualify there. So basically, you can start now, and you can still make it there as one of the players and still become a world champion. And just the final words about the vision before I give the floor to the masters, to the champions. I see Excel Esports as a really global multi-million or multi-billion business sport, followed by, like if we have, I know that Microsoft does not release their number of users, but I would imagine that it's a lot. So probably millions who are using that every day. Would be interesting to follow how the top guns compete. And I perfectly see that the Las Vegas finals could be industry's main events, and why not? Why don't we give the, let's say, prize money in millions for the top players, and the esports stars, they could be dealing autographs instead of working 9 to 5 at their employers, and just train for doing this professionally. So that's a brief of a vision for the future. And guys, now I'm going to give the floor to you. So the split of the work, Laurence will be commentating. Diarmuid, he lost the championship last year, so he has to work. So he will be doing the work. May I ask, thank you, to switch this thing off. Laurence, give the floor to you.
All right, thank you. So this is a sample esports demo challenge, which Diarmuid, or Dim, which call him Dim, he's going to complete today for us. We're going to walk through the case first, so you can understand what we're trying to do first, and then obviously you'll start the timer. Okay. So this case is called volleyball, because it's a sports conference. We try to make it sports themed. We know how to play volleyball. In this case, we're trying to analyze the scoring statistics of some fake matches played by the teams that you see on the right side. All the way on the right, you see just a list of teams here. So they played fake matches. We're trying to analyze the results of these matches. And the way that each sort of case is set up, you've got 5 levels. They get harder and harder as you go through the levels. Each level has a certain number of questions. Once you answer the question correctly, you get a certain number of points. If you answer all the questions correctly in all the levels, you get 1,000 points. So first level here is pretty straightforward. How many points did this team, the ace hitters, score in the first 10 rallies here? So how many points did they score? You're given a list of, in each rally, did they score, did they not score? So this is a very easy level. Level 1, let's go down to level 2. Level 2 is you get a list of teams, or a list of winners of the first 50 matches. How many matches did the SM team, how many matches did they win? This is easy difficulty. Okay, and we move down to level 3 here. Gets a little harder. What's the first team to reach 25 points in each of the games below? So again, you've got from left to right, which team has won a point in each rally? Which is the first team to hit 25 points in all of these rallies here? Obviously, you won't get all the way to the end. You may hit 25 some time before. So let's go down to level 4. We go from moderate to a little tougher. So to win a set, in volleyball, you win by 2, okay? So what's the total number of points played in the first set? So to win a set, you got to hit 25, but also, let's not forget, win by 2. So how many total points were won in the first set? So let's say a team wins 25 to 10, that's 35 points. So the answer would be 35, and let's say whatever game it is. And let's just go to the final level, level 5. This is the hardest level. Again, win by 2, but what is the total number of points played in the second set? So remember, in the first set is win by 2, 25 points. But again, so now not only do you have to determine how many points in the first set, but they're asking for the second set. And the objective of this case is to do all of these levels in under the time allotted on the top left, 15 minutes. So, Dim, when you're ready,
you can just hit the start button.
Sorry, guys, let me just ask you to introduce the points. There is a scoreboard on the top right corner, as you see. So the logic there is that we have some other people completing this case, so some of them were not really good. They scored only 120 points. Others made the case in full with all the bonus points. It's a maximum of 1,250 points. And the faster you do that, the better you become. So Dim will be climbing up the rankings. You will see his position going up, hopefully to the first place. We'll see. He's the best in the world. Let's see if he can make it.
Yeah, so Dim, whenever you're ready, just click start and we can start. And you see the timers running, and we're starting on level 1, the very easy level. We've got a simple sum formula where you can just add up how many points the team has won, or team scored, and we're done with level 1. He's got 120 points right there. Level 2, it's how many points did the SM team won. Again, a simple count-ifs formula, and already he's done with level 2. This one's a little tougher. The first team to get 25 points, he's got to set up a separate tab here. You see the model tab on the bottom left. So right now he's setting up what looks to be one of the new functions in Excel, an XLOOKUP function. He's trying to look up, let's say, the entire range here. So what he's trying to do is it appears that get the games that are going from left to right, and try to get this on a separate sheet. And now we see sort of a transpose function to kind of bring it, to flip it from left to right, so to up and down, so that way we can work that way. He got separate columns here, right? So we can see this is if team A scored. So A is the team that the ace hitters, I believe. That's the team that we're focusing on, or if the opponent scored. So right now he's doing a table to see which of these teams has scored, depending on, or what the score is, depending on who scored on the left. Oh, what happened here? Something with the AV? Everything okay?
Just a second, we're gonna clear this.
Yeah. Did we lose the camera feed? Oh, there we go. So we lost a couple minutes there, or a couple seconds there, right? I still think he can finish before 15 minutes are over. We're already on level 3 here. So we've got what the team A has scored versus the opponent, and he's got a column here for the max. So this is, again, you got to hit 25 to win, right? So I think what he's doing here is when the score hits 25, now you know that the first set is over. There we go. First team to reach 25. So level 3 is done. And now we got level 4. So level 4, win by 2. So now he's got a column for the spread here to sort of put that in. So now, remember, you have to win by 2 and hit 25. So there seems to be an and function here. So you can count both criteria. I think he's setting that up. Yep. If it's greater or equal to 25, and if the spread is 2 or more, then you know it's set 1 or set 2. What he's doing on the right side, you see data tables. It's a way to sort of, you see question 61, 62, 63, 64. You have the answer up top, and you can just set up a data table to get the answers for all 20 of those sets all in one swoop. So you don't have to go manually one game by one game by one game. Let's see where we are here. Okay. So we've got 11 minutes left here. I think we're on level 5 now, which is the toughest level. So this level is second set. So remember, for the first set, you have to calculate not only how many points were in the first set, but also how many were in the second set. Because the second set doesn't start when the first set hits 25. You also have to win by 2. So he's doing this right now with another data table here on the right. All he has to do is copy and paste, and I think he's done it now. I think he's going to go to the bonus questions here.
Yeah, the only thing I see that the scoreboard does not update, so we probably need to ask additional help. Maybe Dim finishes everything and we can get his scoring.
I think he will. So what we have here are some bonus questions, and the bonus questions are a way to, A, to get your score above 1,000, but two, it's a way to sort of differentiate players. So in case you have players that hit all 5 levels, you've got bonus points to sort of differentiate, top players from other top players. And the other reason is, when we do this live and when there's like 2 or 3 or 4 people competing, typically the way it works is the first 1 or 2 folks to get the bonus questions correct get the points, and then nobody else can get the points. So sometimes the strategy becomes, do you actually want to shoot for the bonus questions first? Even though those might be more difficult than level 1, level 2, level 3. Just so you can get the points and nobody else can get the points. And we've seen that happen in live play and in live competition. Dim is sort of finishing up here with bonus level 3. Let's see.
So seems that all the answers are correct. Max, maybe you could just check
it seems that all the answers are correct.
Yeah,
he
so
is
we just
finished.
get the numbers.
We are under 15 minutes. I think we have some time to spare. Okay, so that's sort of the Excel Esports demo. And I would say, the typical case is about 30 minutes, so not 15 minutes. So you have a little bit longer as well. And, don't be discouraged if some of this seems too difficult for you. I would say 90% of the competitors don't even finish within 30 minutes, a lot of times. So a lot of times competitors don't finish. They don't get the 1,000 points. But that's why you got to have harder levels of difficulty to sort of separate the competitors. And I would say one last thing about esports, or at least Excel as an esport, since we are at the sports conference. So there's a lot of other panels going on, baseball, basketball, football, etc. The great thing about sports is, let's say you train real hard in basketball, football, hockey, golf, whatever, but you don't make it to the pro. Well, at least you get something out of it, right? You're bigger, faster, stronger than you were before. The thing with a lot of esports is, well, if you train for like Call of Duty for 2 years and you don't make any money out of it, well, what do you get out of that? Right? What tangible skills have you learned from playing Call of Duty or whatever? I'm not knocking Call of Duty, it's a great game. But just training for that for 10 years, you don't really get much out of it. But at least with Excel Esports, even if you're not the top 1, 2, 3, whatever players in the world, you still get a lot of great tangible skills that are very, very, very valuable to employers, Fortune 500 employers, mid-level employers, small employers. So very tangible skills that you can take with you and put on your resume to sort of get a better job or move industries. And I would say that's a good pitch for not just students, but also industry professionals, anyone in the audience that's thinking about this.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. So, that was an amazing performance. Like, you smashed that, so time left like 9 minutes. So instead of 15 minutes, you've spent like 5 minutes and 22 seconds with all the interruptions, right? Yeah. So I think it's now the time for the Q&A session. And I'd like also to invite my colleague, Max Sych, the Chief Operating Officer for the Financial Modeling World Cup, to take the questions as well.
Yep, if you would like to ask a question, please put up your hand and take the microphone just so that we have the audio for the recording. So if anyone has a question, I'll bring the mic over to you.
Hi, this is really cool. I was actually just texting my friend who's really good at Excel and say you should try this, and then she never heard of it. So my question is, what kind of effort you guys put into like kind of marketing the whole sports? And like the first thing on top of my mind is, have you guys reached out to any of the colleges, like schools, universities, to try to build a partnership? Because if I were a professor, I would love my student to be really good at it. That's the practical skill I really wish I learned when I was in school, and I had to teach myself all over again in work, real life, and it's just not good. And I just feel that's a good opportunity for both the school, you guys, and the student.
Absolutely, perfectly agree. Let Max handle this question.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you for the question very much. Actually, in that regard, last year we have launched Microsoft Excel Collegiate Challenge. It's kind of financial modeling World Cup, consists of kind of 3 different events, and this was the Excel World Championship. We have the similar thing, but just for students. So the idea of this championship is that students from any part of the world can actually join, compete, and come for finals. Last year was in Arizona. We were doing this with the University of Arizona. We had over 600 universities joining from 100 countries. So it's this year we're putting a lot of effort to actually invite partner schools to work with us, and the partner school will get kind of an individual approach to actually get this to their classes, to basically introduce this into curriculum so that students can actually try themselves, compete at university level, and if they feel good enough, they can actually come for finals to, the big arena. So we're putting a lot of efforts for students, but on the corporate arena as well, we do work with ESPN to put this on TV and make it mainstream. We do, a lot of live streams on social media, basically on YouTube. We do a lot of social media coverage, work with some, news agencies. So that's basically, we're trying to push it forward, and the conference today is just another part to, make it more accessible for anyone who wants to join.
Hi, that was fun to watch, first of all. Do you have a place where we could go and do, sample questions like this? How do we make this available for?
Actually, come join our booth. Yeah. On our booth, we have computers set up, so you can test exactly the same case, do yourself, make it in less than 5 minutes, 22 seconds.
And I would not make it in 5 minutes, I'll tell you that right now.
Okay, but please, sure.
Yeah, because I manage a team of analysts, and it would be really fun to do this as during one of our happy hours, have us all compete. So do you have it widely available, or some sample cases like this we can access other places?
Yes, there are sample cases on our website, the fmworldcup.com, and today you can just come and test it in real life. Our booth is just right around the corner.
Okay, thank you.
How do you go about developing the cases for the competition? What goes into that? Who comes up with them? How do you develop them challenging enough?
Yeah, so that's, it's not a science, it's an art. The cases, initially, most of them were developed by myself. We also made, we involved many of the players to create the cases so that we expand the experience and a broader opportunity. Right now, for these Excel Esports, after last year's Microsoft Excel World Championship Finals, people were so inspired that basically my mailbox was full from hi, here I have developed a case. I was so inspired. Please have a look. This could be a good case. And, players just started to develop the cases themselves. Yeah.
Just to add to point of cases, there is actually, when you create a case or you start thinking, okay, what the case could be about, there's really no limit. You can actually go about anything in Excel. You can do chess, we have done actually these things. We have done chess, bowling, we've done card games, gambling, all the different parts. You can actually make scoring models, you can make different analysis, analytics, you can plan your trips, whatever you wish in Excel. So there is really, when it comes to creating a case, there are no limits. It's just how creative you can get. So yeah.
I had a question for Laurence and Dim, just in terms of the cases that you're competing on. You've competed in the FMWC, so in the more financial modeling cases, and also in esports. What are are the skills completely transferable between the two, apart from the domain sort of financial modeling knowledge, and which do you prefer competing in?
I would say the skills are probably, more than half, let's say, transferable between the two. So it's kind of manipulating things in Excel for both of them. There's a lot of kind of finance technical knowledge involved in the FMWC, the financial modeling one, that you don't need at all for the esports. But I would say pretty much anything that you do in the esports one probably applies somewhere in the financial modeling one. in terms of preference, personally, I enjoy the esports ones more. I still don't particularly identify as a financy type of person.
Yeah, I would echo his comment. I would add, for the esports, you don't really need any finance knowledge, like NPV or Kager. You don't need to know any of that stuff for the esports. There is a wider range of formulas that are used. I mean, as you saw in the demo for the esports. I mean, some of the formulas that are done in the esports you would not even touch in a financial model. So I would say the esports, you don't need to go that deep. You don't need to have a deep range of knowledge. You just need to have a good grasp of logic. And as far as preference, I may be the only person that prefers the financial modeling competition, the regular competition, just because it's how I make a living. I mean, it sort of plays into my mindset of how do I increase profit, reduce costs, drive EBITDA. That's sort of been my mindset for the past decade, and that competition lends more towards my skill set.
Hey, that's awesome. Do you guys plan maybe to expand it beyond Excel to other maybe BI tools like Power BI, Tableau, or just SQL, Python, and maybe let the players to choose which tool they want to use to solve the question?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's very much about the strategy. At this point, that's probably step 2, maybe, because it's so much to do, like within this field so far, and that's also about changing the cases quite a bit. I don't think that Power BI might be good enough to solve exactly these specifics of these questions. So for data analysis, for data visualization from the historical perspective, yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, so maybe at one day, but probably not anytime soon.
Hey, this is really cool. Thanks for doing this. I'm curious, in any sport, you have players who come along and change the game. In basketball, Steph Curry recently with the three-point revolution. You can think of that dynamic in a lot of sports. So I'm curious, if you peek around the corner for this sport, is there anything that you see that's really changing the game, or what's the next frontier within Excel modeling? Is it just harder cases, or curious how you guys think about that?
I think it's the whole software, it's the whole playground that's changing. So all the time Microsoft is adding all the new functionalities, all the new additions, new functions to Excel, and that, like, every time it expands our own options, opportunities. So like, we don't really have to invent something. Like, Microsoft does it for us, actually. Like, Excel changes, and this gives some new insights into Excel esports. What I think could become an interesting twist to Excel esports, that could be AI, actually. So at one point, maybe it will be easier for the players. Like, there will be a trade-off. Do I solve the case myself, or do I spend time to define the problem to AI and try to get the results done? So far, our policy was that everything goes, like, whatever you can do in Excel, you can go with it. Do you want to write a VBA code? You can do that, but that's going to take time for you to install, like, to write the code. So that could be an interesting twitch. Like, I think, Max, you have tested the AI once. Like, how did you do that?
Yeah, well, this is no promotion, but I've tried to solve a case with ChatGPT. Like, literally here you see the instructions, you see the questions, so you could just input the case into ChatGPT prompt, and it gives you the answer. And the problem is that at this point, I'm not sure if you've tested it, but sometimes for algebraic questions, it doesn't provide the right answer. And that's what happened with me. At this point, yeah, it provided me half of the answers correct, half of the answers wrong. And probably what I see, I mean, half of the answers correct is actually 50% probability. Well, it's kind of that it would actually get this, and it might actually perform better on average than an average person in this. It might be. But at this point, it's just not enough to actually make it use for the whole case, especially if we're talking about business analytics, right? You wouldn't base your decision on something that is not correct. So, but I think in future, as we see they improve, it might change very, very soon. And also answering your question, just to add what Andrew said, we're actually looking at different formats. Well, Excel itself, the kind of the sphere stays the same, but for example, last year we actually invented, well, we didn't really invent, but we actually went to a new field, which is speed runs. So we have the Excel Esports battles here where people come, 8 people, 20 people, whatever, they compete against each other, get points. But there's actually another kind of format, which is speed run. You have how many attempts you want, you just try to do it as quick as possible. So as long as you get it, you just compete on time, how quickly you can solve those things. And this is about, using shortcuts, how quickly your brain thinks, how quickly you can navigate in Excel. And actually, you can go to speedrun.com, find Microsoft Excel World Championship, and see Laurence speedruns where he solved those in under 3 minutes, which is sometimes crazy to understand what they're doing, but actually it's a very smart approach. So I'm very open that in future there will be new formats developing. As for students, we have developed teams competition where we try to engage, as a team and solve the case, and there might be new formats evolving as well.
Just to kind of add a little bit to that, you asked about players who change the game. I think, like Max mentioned, the speed runs. There's a guy in Thailand called Bo Ridabon who has been publishing videos of almost all the past esports challenges as speed runs, not a first attempt, but after planning and refining and so on. And I did this case that was geared for 15 minutes in 5. He often does cases that are geared for 30 minutes in 2 or less. And it's a big part of the change is he's very cutting edge about the kind of formulas that he uses. So in other words, there are kind of recently developed formulas in Excel like dynamic arrays and lambdas and that kind of thing that really actually shift the paradigm of what you can do in a formula quite a lot. And one of the things that you'll see if you take a look, you probably won't understand what's happening unless you're a reasonably advanced Excel user in the first place. But one of the things you'll see is, I did most of these cases by coming over to a separate tab, building out a full model, and then kind of feeding the answers back in. One of the things that you'll see if you look at kind of Bo's speedruns is he almost always solves the case entirely in one cell. And the way that he's able to do that is because of this kind of new type of formula in Excel, especially some of the things he does with lambdas on the kind of more advanced cases where there's no way he's going to do this one in one cell, and he does, and it's it's basically more akin to writing a computer program in a cell than anything you would have done in Excel before. But so for me, that's kind of, Bo is quite open about it. He needs a long time to kind of plan and optimize and so on before he can do it. But you can see his influence creeping in that people are trying. I'm certainly trying to do more of that, solve it in one cell. So I think that's sort of the next development for this.
Yeah, and I would add to that, if this, this thing's going to grow, let's say the prize money grows big enough where people will pay attention to it, I think you're going to get a couple of MIT undergrads that just do these cases entirely in VBA, get it done in under 5 minutes, and just crush everything. Eventually, but the prize money has to be big enough to entice some smart, super smart programmer who's never touched Excel before but can just do this thing entirely in code. I think that will be the next frontier, but I don't know when that's going to happen or if that's going to happen. I guess another question from my end. In terms of the challenge that you have, so today we've kind of seen a format or an esports format of like, you know, different challenges within 15 minutes to solve. I mean, do you have other sort of tasks that are more extended in the amount of time, so you might need 30 minutes just to build out an extensive model? Like, what do the kind of different challenges that you have look like in terms of their format?
I would say that the format is more or less the same. It's just the formulas that you need to write are more complex. Okay. So this challenge actually, the level 5, that used to be the level 3 in the original case. So there were 2 more complicated levels where you have to solve for the third set as well. So.
And you know, if anyone's interested in the financial modeling type challenges, like not this, but like the actual, like you have to build a financial modeling, those are 2 hours. You get, I think it's 3 cases, 1 easy, medium, and hard, but you get 2 hours.
Yeah, and like write-up of like 3 to 4 pages, so with instructions. Okay. All right, so any other questions? All right, so it's been too many of them. Well, I'd like to then thank the audience for the attention and thank the 2 World Championship champions for their performance today.